So we got to talk. Okay, so one of the things I want to talk about, and I'm certainly not the first person to talk about this, nor will I be the, oh wait, I didn't even do my intro. Let's try this again. Hello, sinners, and hail Sappho. It's your hostess with the mostest Narcissa DeVille, and if you're new to this channel, hi, hello, how are you? We've been expecting you. Ignore the tape. And if you're not new to this channel, thank you so much for joining me again. Thank you all so much for the Patreon subscribers. Much appreciated. I love and adore you. Okay, so I want to talk about this thing, and I'm not the first person to talk about this, nor will I be the last person to talk about this. But I think it needs to be discussed, and since there has been a lot of fandom drama, I figure now is as good a time as any to discuss different things, right? Because it's not just the Has Been Hotel fandom that's having drama, but of course it's the Has Been Hotel fandom that's having drama, because it's always our fandom that's having drama. But it is not just us, so let's be clear about that. So primarily what I wanted to talk about is so last week I did a Chappel Roan inspired makeup look. Thank you so much for not commenting on how busted it was. I appreciate that so much. I know. I saw it. I can see. It was not my finest work. I don't know why. Especially since I did a different makeup look that looked fine. That was kind of weird. And I've done blue eyeshadow before. Honestly, I'm tempted to do another blue eyeshadow just to prove that I can. That is not blue. Anyway, so here's the thing. There's been a lot of discussion, and I keep seeing it, so it has to be brought up. But I keep seeing discussion about people saying that the fact that Chappel Roan is setting boundaries for herself means that she doesn't have what it takes to be a celebrity, which I just think is the most bullshit thing I have ever heard. And I do think it's kind of sad and interesting how, not even all that long ago, it was very much the commonly accepted feminist thing that we all agreed that you should not just grab some woman without permission or demand things of her. And it's, you know what the sad thing is, it's not even new that a celebrity is talking about, hey, I don't want you just demanding to take a picture with me or expecting that I should want to all the time. I don't want you grabbing me or harassing me or touching me without my permission. That's not even a new thing. Trixie has long said she does not like hugs, and yet people disrespect that boundary all the time too. And, she's kind of seen by some as a bitch for saying that. And it's my opinion that if you have a boundary and people can't respect that, then maybe you should not be fans of someone. If you can't respect a simple boundary that they're asking of you, maybe you should not consider yourself a fan. Maybe instead of saying they shouldn't be a celebrity, you should look very hard at yourself and wonder why you feel as a fan that you can just, have all access to people at all times. You know what I mean? Maybe we need to reconsider why that is a thing. And I was watching this video, and I cannot remember for the life of me. I think it was Cat Black who brought up the fact that with Chappel Roan, what I think all of this is proving is nobody learned anything from the Britney Spears of it all. Nobody learned a goddamn thing from that experience, and everything she went through and everything people put her through, not just the media, but also so-called fans. But it's fandom culture learned absolutely nothing from Britney Spears. And it's sad. It's sad because, why does this need to be a thing? You know what I mean? Why are you sitting there telling someone maybe you shouldn't be a celebrity if you have boundaries? Is that really the hill you want to die on? That's wild to me. That is wild behavior to me. To sit there and say, hey, if you have a boundary that includes me leaving you alone, maybe you aren't meant to be a celebrity. Really? That's what you want to go with? Okay. And you can't, I mean, look, you cannot tell people who have decided that that is the hill that they want to die on. You cannot tell these people that that is absolutely ridiculous and not okay and not even sensible or send, it's not right. Like, I cannot fathom that being your pitch. I cannot fathom that actually being what you want to go with. And I have to assume that people don't even realize what they're suggesting. And maybe that's just me being overly hopeful that like people don't realize the implication of saying like maybe she's not cut out to be a celebrity because she's putting forth these boundaries, because it seems like people don't even recognize them as boundaries. They don't recognize them as anything because they feel like, oh, she's a celebrity, this is what she signed up for, I should have all access to her at all times. And like, that's just not how this works. Like, you do not need all access to people at all times, especially celebrities. And I gotta say, with like Trixie currently taking her sabbatical, I kind of respect that, because I imagine at least part of that has to be like, she's been very, very busy. So I imagine she knows firsthand the experience of having to deal with a lot of people having a lot of demands of you and at you all at once, and expecting you to just be able to handle everything that they're throwing at you. And it's like if that is what we've decided celebrity culture is, then why would anyone want to be a part of that? Why would anyone want to be a part of a thing where it's like, yeah, you get to have complete and total unfettered access to me at all times. And I think I do kind of wonder if social media has not kind of made that more of a thing, right? There's this expectation that if you want to be successful or known, you have to have social media, right? Like, why am I on Twitter if not for gaining more attention for my artwork, right? Like, I would not be on Twitter otherwise, because Twitter is not a place that I want to be. Twitter is not a place that I strive to be. Frankly, almost no social media is anymore. Like, Instagram is fine. Okay, I want to sidebar for a second, to have a discussion about Twitter, because I'm having the damnedest time with Miss Twitter, because I have really tried to make an effort to be on Twitter. I've really tried to make an effort. I can enjoy it, but I'm doing that thing I talk about, which is curating my own experience. And yet Twitter loves to make it impossible, because I mute things, they don't get muted. I block people, I still see their shit, and I still see the same shit. Why are you not learning from what I'm blocking and saying, okay, she doesn't want to see this? You know what I mean? Like, why aren't you learning anything from what I'm blocking? You get all this information from me, and don't, I'm not going to sit there and pretend like I don't think Twitter knows everything about me already, because that's just how that goes. Although when I looked at like topics and interests, it thought I liked or might like a lot of it. I was like, what the fuck is sports? Parenting? No, I don't like any of that. I don't play sport. I was like, all different kinds of sports, esports, all this. I'm like, I don't even know what an esport is. What the fuck? No, I don't like any sports. So it's just kind of interesting to me, like how Twitter and Instagram and all those things decide that they know you, because it really doesn't seem like they do, but their algorithms tell them that they do. And it's like, okay, well, if your algorithm can tell you that this is what I'm, interested in, quote unquote, that you've decided that I like sports. If I block something sports related, you should be able to tell then that I don't fucking like sports. You know what I mean? And if I am looking at something Has Been Hotel, because that is what I'm looking at, and I say, I don't want to see pictures that include this pairing, maybe you should take that as, if there is anything in there that has that, don't fucking show it to me. If it's tagged as this, if the word is in there and I have muted this, don't show it to me. It's that simple. And then I had someone who I follow, because I made a comment on Twitter. I'm like, I don't know what the hell muting words is doing, because it's sure as fuck not muting things. And they're like, oh, it takes a month. And I'm like, a month? And then they were saying something about, oh, it used to be better. I'm like, I used to be on Twitter. Like, I had a Twitter for a long time. Like, pretty much since Twitter started, I got a Twitter, because I don't fucking know anymore. Oh, because, the whole thing of like, you have to be online perpetually if you want people to give a shit about you. You have to have a social media presence. You have to create, before you can even get success, you have to create success, which is insane to me, but that's a whole other thing. But so I'm not unfamiliar with Twitter. I left for 5 minutes and came back, and it got ridiculous in that time. But I'm not totally unfamiliar with Twitter. But I don't know. It's just, that's really annoying to me. But when I see things, and that's another thing, is I am certainly blocking, disrespect I see on Chappel Roan setting her own boundaries. I am certainly blocking that shit on Twitter. Because it's look, if you're not in that situation, you don't know what that's like. You just don't. I'm sorry. You can imagine it all you want. You can picture it. I certainly know I have. But until you're in that situation, you just don't know what that's like. You just do not know what it's like to have people who are just in your business constantly and in your face constantly and thinking that they have a right to tell you what to do with your life and have a right to tell you what to do with, XYZ. And so, yeah, I think she has every right to set a boundary. She has every right to say, guess what? I am not comfortable with you having unfettered access to me 24/7. You don't need that. And I do, so that's where my tangent was going. I do think social media, this is way too dark, but whatever. I do think social media is partly to blame. And it's not her fault because, there is this expectation that you have to be on social media in order for people to pay attention to you at all, which is stupid. And I think wanting to share things on social media certainly is not a bad thing either. But I think it is impossible to deny, right, that social media has not had a deleterious effect when it comes to the expectation that people should just be constantly available to you. You know what I mean? I think it has had a very negative effect with this idea that everyone should be always at your beck and call, especially a celebrity. They should always be at your beck and call. You should always be able to see them and interact with them at all times, no matter what, no questions asked. And I just think that's really ridiculous. I think that's really not okay. I don't think that we should be we should feel that we are obligated or that celebrities are obligated to give us access to them all the time. Why would you want that? Why would you feel that you deserve that? And again, like I said, it's not new to Chappel Roan. She is just the latest in a slew of people who is especially women, let's be honest, it is especially women who are asking to be left alone and not, bothered. And I just think it's so interesting because it's not just men who are making the assertion that maybe she's just not cut out for being a celebrity. Maybe she doesn't have what it takes to be a pop princess. And it's I really think if you're a woman and you are saying shit like that, you need to seriously reevaluate where your stance is, because that's batshit out of this world, unintelligible. Imagine being a woman who knows what it's like to have people in your business trying to, especially, we know what it's like to have men up in our business and, inappropriately asking things of you, demanding things of you, expecting things of you. Do you know one thing that I fucking hate? And I'm not even a celebrity on any comparison. One thing I hate, I keep headphones in a lot because if I'm going to be outside, I like having my own headphones. I like being able to hear things. Social interactions can make me anxious. I don't want to talk to people, not even my neighbors. Even though I know my neighbors, I don't necessarily want to talk to them all the time. So I have a neighbor who, because he knows my dog, even though I very clearly had headphones in, and my typical hair is much shorter. So you can clearly see this headphone in this video. So imagine in real life, you can clearly see that I have this headphone, but he's like talking to me and blah, blah, blah. And so, I am expected out of neighborly niceness or something to take out my headphone and be like, I'm sorry, what? It's like it's like if you're going to demand or expect everyone to want to have a conversation with you, I think you should at least do them the courtesy of paying attention enough to notice if like someone is wearing a headphone or headphones, so you can see that they don't want to have a conversation with you. You know what I mean? Like, do people the courtesy of paying attention. But no, you just expect that they want to talk to you, even though I went out of my way to avoid this guy because I didn't want to talk to him. I steered my dog in the opposite direction so I didn't have to talk to him. And he still decided to come up to me anyway. And like, this is what I'm talking about. This is the experience that women have all the time. And if you are a woman who's experienced shit like that and is telling Chappel Roan, oh, you clearly don't have what it takes because you don't want to be accosted all the time. It's like, do you want to be accosted all the time by people who make you uncomfortable? No. So why should she have to deal with it just because, oh, she's a celebrity and this is what you signed up for? No, it's not what you signed up for. She signed up for to make good queer music, and that's what the fuck she's doing. She did not sign up to have people harass her. She did not sign up to have people talk shit about her or whatever. I know that's the expectation because it happens to everyone. But like, just because something happens doesn't mean that it should happen. I think we really need to have like serious conversations about that. Just because something happens all the time doesn't mean that that's a good thing. Doesn't mean that that's something that should be happening all the time. Just because female celebrities are very accustomed to being harassed does not mean that they should have to be accustomed to being harassed. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think I'm saying anything like out of the ordinary here. I don't think I'm saying anything that is so like unbelievable. I think I'm actually saying something that's like pretty like basic, pretty straightforward. Like, I don't think there's anything particularly, well, I mean, how I'm putting on this blush is pretty wild, but besides that, ignore that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying anything that's like super out of left field, expecting that we should not, tell people, oh, if you want to make music, this is the price you pay. You have to deal with people's, getting in your business. Like, do you though? Do you have to deal with that? I don't think you should have to deal with that. I don't think that's what anyone signs up for when they decide that they want to be a musician. She signed up for making music, and that is what she does. Nobody signed up to be harassed by people. Why would anyone do that? Why would anyone agree to do that just so they could make music? Like, that's not how this is not the price of fame. You know what I mean? Like, that's ridiculous. But no, people have decided that that's just acceptable. And it's just like, I'm sorry, but if you call yourself a feminist and you're saying this shit, I actually think you need to hand in your feminism card. I think you need to have several seats, because you have lost the plot, in my not so humble opinion. That's just what it is. Because if you're going to tell someone that they, have to be available to you at all times, that is ridiculous. Why would you ever expect that of anyone? I wouldn't even expect that of family, that they be available to me at all times. So why would you expect that of a stranger who you do not know? As she repeatedly says, you do not know her. Just because you like her music does not mean you know anything about her. You know what I mean? Just because you enjoy someone's music, that doesn't mean you know anything about who they are as a person. That does not mean you know anything about, what they stand for and what they are about and what they want out of life. It's just like, it's so ridiculous to me how this is even a conversation. And it's like, like everyone else has said, it's like we learned absolutely nothing from the Britney Spears of it all. We learned absolutely nothing. That was so much powder. And like, if you want, I can relate this back to Has-Been Hotel, because as I discussed in the video reviewing Mammon's Magnificent Musical, we know that the whole stalker situation with Fizz was based on a real experience that Viv had. And it's like, you know, she did something, she created this dream for herself, just like Chappel, you know, making herself known after having this dream and having this vision for so long. And that's great. And that's amazing. And that feels amazing, I'm sure. But it doesn't feel amazing to have people just decide that they are owed access to you, that they are owed constant, unfettered access to you at all times. That is not okay. Like, I just don't understand it. I don't understand this thought process whatsoever of like, well, you're a celebrity, so I am owed your time and attention, and I am owed you have to pay attention to me. You have to give me a photo. You have to give me this, give me this, give me this. They're already giving you their art. What the fuck more do you want? You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I don't know. I feel like there was a time where we did not have the access to celebrities the way we do today. There was a time when you didn't have the ability to make all these requests and demands of celebrities. You know, people didn't have that ability. People didn't have the ability to just make these requests and demands of celebrities. People didn't have the ability to, or even the expectation. I mean, God, could you imagine? Marilyn Monroe had it hard enough with everything she was dealing with. And people didn't, you know, it just wasn't the thing. You didn't go up to people back then like that. And it's like, I don't know where we decided in our society that it was morally acceptable to say, oh, well, you're a celebrity, so you signed up for this, so I can just harass you all I want with no repercussions because this is what you signed up for. This is the price of fame. Like, that is ridiculous to me. I cannot fathom that thought process. And so I feel for Chappel Roan a lot because it's like, who would sign up for that? And you know, she's having her family stalked. She's having, you know, her friend. And like, she has already said, I'll stop making music before I let that shit happen. And like, is that really what you want? Are you really that fan who's like, I'm your biggest fan? And it's like, well, okay, if you were really a fan, you just leave her the fuck alone. Because it seems to me like you want to get all up in her business and treat her like shit and, you know, put her family and friends at risk so you can have this interaction. And it's like, okay, well, that's how people just stop creating because it's uncomfortable. Why should she have to put up with that? Why should anyone have to put up with that? That is my genuine question. Like, no joke, that is my question. Why should anyone have to put up with that? Why would anyone put up with that? I wouldn't put up with that shit. You wouldn't put up with that shit. Nobody would put up with that shit. Why would you? That's ridiculous. Having people just demand things of you all the time and say, well, like, you don't want, I don't want to have photos taken. I don't even want my family taking photos of me half the time because I'm not always feeling it. You know what I mean? And like, imagine, you know, it's not as if it's at a meet and greet, right? It's not as if these people are coming up to her and it's a meet and greet and she's like, well, I don't want to take a photo with you. Like, maybe we could have a discussion about whether or not that's like diva behavior, because obviously that's what a meet and greet is for. That's the expectation. You're all there to, you know, meet someone and take a photo with them. And you know what? Even then, I'm kind of still going to say, yeah, it's probably not that big of a deal. You know what I mean? Like, but at least in that situation, I could say, like, yeah, I mean, it's a meet and greet. You're kind of there. That is the expectation. But that's not what's happening here. This is people on the street seeing her and deciding, oh, I have to come up to you. Like, I cannot imagine, first of all, I cannot fathom seeing someone on the street and saying, I have to go up to you. Like, a stranger, no less. Like, maybe if it's your friend, I could see that. But like, if you're a stranger to someone, don't go up to them demanding to see them. Why? Why do you need to see her? Why do you need to go up to her? Like, truly ask yourself that. Truly ask yourself why you feel so obligated to see her and interact with her. Because to me, that feels like something we as a society should investigate within ourselves. We as a society should look inward and say, why is it we feel so obligated to this person's time? Why do we feel so like we have a right to this person's time? We are owed this person's time because we, the fans, have made you who you are. Like, no, your talent got her to where she is. Her talent got her to where she is. Her hard work and perseverance got her to where she is. And yeah, some luck. And yeah, fans are a part of that. But like, to a certain extent, like, let's not say that we are the whole it in a bag of chips that made this happen for her. Like, no, that's not the tea. That's not the truth. Like, don't go there, Ellen. Like, that's not the truth. And you know it's not the truth. The truth of the matter is her talent got her to where she is, and a lot of hard work and a lot of perseverance. And if anything, I think her story as like an artist is an example of doing what you do, doing what you love, keeping at it even when it's hard. And let me tell you, after last week's video, after how abysmal that went, I really felt disheartened. I have to say that. I wasn't going to talk about this. But to be honest with you, I was very disheartened after last week's video because basically no one saw it. And when you put so much effort into things, and I'm so glad I didn't go with the scripted version, I'll tell you that, it kind of does feel like, fuck, what am I doing here? Why am I making this if no one's watching it? Why am I bothering? And I really felt the closest I have ever felt to just wanting to throw in the towel. I really, really sincerely just felt like, I don't know why I'm doing this. What am I making this for? I almost didn't film a video this week. It's Tuesday at like 10. So I really left this to the last possible minute to do this. And I almost didn't, because I felt very disheartened. I felt very exhausted. And I felt very like, I don't know if this is worth it to me anymore. And I say that to say that hearing Chappel Roan's story as someone who has done this for a decade and has been doing this for a long time and working at it and finally got this, big break. I am so happy for her. I think it's well deserved. It's amazing. And I'm not comparing us, but it does allow you to kind of look at yourself and say, you know what, maybe it's possible. Maybe anything can happen. Maybe some video somewhere will be something that people want to watch, and that'll be what, sets my channel alight. I don't know. Maybe it won't. Maybe I'm just doing this for fun and it really doesn't matter. And I'm trying to focus on that and trying to make it something where I'm just doing things that I want to do, regardless of whether or not a lot of people are going to watch it. But at the same time, it's frustrating because you're like, if nobody's seeing this, what am I doing here? You know what I mean? Like, when people aren't watching it, you kind of feel like, okay, well, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Who am I doing this for? Is it just for me? And I have to reevaluate my expectations in that case. So yeah, I really did. I had a moment where I was like, I don't know if I can keep doing this. I don't know if it's worth doing still. I really was in a funk. Just was like, I don't know. I don't know if I want to do this anymore. And I'm glad that I am still doing it. I'm glad that I'm not going to just stop. But at the same time, I did have a moment where I was like, I don't know. I don't know if this is worth it to me. So, my point is, in all of this, is we see this a lot in fandom spaces, right? We see this a lot. Actually, I'll give you a good example. Just happened recently. People are very, very upset because an art print is being sold right now that is of Alistair and Lucifer. And they used the ship name. It came from Viv's account. So people got very mad at her, and she is trying to say that she has not confirmed anything. But someone posted a TikTok video in which Amazon Mexico is saying that it's already canon and it's going to be canon. So, I don't know how real that is because I don't watch TikTok anyway most of the time. I post things to there occasionally, but I don't really watch things on there. So, make of that what you will. But anyway, if that's true, not my favorite thing, not what I'm interested in seeing, but, I'm not going to get mad at her about it. What is that going to accomplish? You know what I mean? And it's kind of the same thing you see all the time with like Drag Race, where every time a queen wins, people have to talk about how the other person deserved to win more. Just happened with Lemon. It happened with Tia Coffee before her. It happened with Angeria before her. Nobody has ever like the thing with Drag Race and that fandom is like, nobody is happy no matter who wins. They're always going to say someone else should have won. No matter how they did in the competition, no matter who did the best, no matter whatever it is, they're always going to say someone else should have won. That's just how it goes, I feel like. Every season I have watched, there has always been, Lemon was my choice to win personally. Tia Coffee was my choice to win in UK versus the World season 2. So like, I was thrilled by those choices. But like, people are always going to be mad about something. I was thrilled with Kylie, and I'm sure there were people who were pissed about that. I was thrilled with Raja O'Hara for Canada versus the World season 1. People were mad about that. So it's just like, it truly doesn't matter who wins, because at the end of the day, people are going to be mad and people are going to be screaming, and they're going to forget about it because there's going to be another new season out in 10 minutes. So people are going to, and then people are going to bitch, well, this season isn't good. And it's like, okay, well, then why are you watching it? You know what I mean? I think it's shitty that people think that they are owed and that you are obligated to give them your time. I think that's shitty. I think the expectation that you should be available at all times is shitty. I think the expectation that you should take any kind of abuse that they give you is shitty. And if you are the sort of person who calls yourself a fan and treats people that way, I think you're shitty, and I think you should stop. Is this going to make a difference? Probably not. Are people going to stop? I don't know. But I hope that people take into consideration the fact that, like, this feels so basic to say, but Chappel Roan is a real person, guys. Not just a singer, not just an artist, not just someone you like to look at. This is a real person with real feelings who is really being expected to put up with anyone's bullshit at all times. And it's just frustrating to me to watch. Because I am a fan, and I am a newer fan. And newer fans get a lot of hate because people are like, oh, well, it's the new fans that are acting up. The people who have been fans of her for a long time don't treat her like this. And like, I don't treat her like that because I don't know her. I'm a fan of her work, but I don't fucking know her from anyone. No, you don't do that shit. It's that simple. You don't do that. I feel like it's so basic to say treat people how you want to be treated, but like, I don't know. That feels like the most basic thing in the world. Everybody knows it from the time you're in kindergarten. Treat people the way you want to be treated. Treat people the way you want to be treated. You learn it in church, you learn it in school, you learn it at home, you learn it everywhere. Treat people the way you want to be treated. And if you want to be treated like this, maybe you need to see someone about that. I don't know. Just a thought. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, thank you so much. I almost said have a great rest of your day. I don't know what the fuck my customer service ad came out. Thank you all so much for watching. You can subscribe to this channel, become a member of this channel. 2 tiers. We have the Sinners tier and the Overlord tier. You can also become a member of my Patreon. Ding! I have 3 tiers, all of which under $5. And until next time, stay devilish and see you next Tuesday.